Good evening, viewers. Breathless political developments as they take place in the state of Maharashtra. Uddhav Thackeray just spoke directly to the people of Maharashtra as well to the rebel Shiv Sena, where he pretty much said that he's got his resignation down. It's for the rebel MLAs to come pick it up and take it. Also, he threw in a googly by directly asking the rebel MLAs, how do you know that the next Chief Minister of Maharashtra will be a Shiv Sena? A highly emotional appeal made by Uddhav Thackeray. What will it tantamount to? We are counting down, viewers. In just about a few minutes, we must now, anytime, hear from Eknath Shinde, who is in Guwahati with his rebel MLAs. He's going to be addressing a press conference soon. What goes down there? What is Eknath Shinde going to do? Because he says, claims rather, that he has at least 46 plus MLAs with him, out of which 37 plus are from the Shiv Sena. That would mean, as per Eknath Shinde, he's bucked the anti-defection law. We're going to get you all of that, and we're going to break down the speech of Uddhav Thackeray with our panelists over the course of the next 1 hour. I'm Preeti Chaudhary. These are the headlines. Suspense grows over Uddhav Thackeray's next move. Maharashtra Chief Minister tells Shinde he is ready to step down if the minister asks. Uddhav to move back to Matoshri today. Rebel Sena leader Eknath Shinde speaks exclusively to India Today, says he enjoys the support of 46 MLAs, out of which 37 are from the Sena. As Sena firefights mega implosion, NCP Supremo rides at Varsha Bungalow, Pawar and Uddhav meeting underway. Shinde's rebellion proves to be an advantage for the BJP. Fadnavis holds meet with party leaders in Mumbai. BJP deploys Assam Chief Minister Himanta Sharma to survey resort before rebels arrive in Guwahati. And Rahul Gandhi speaks out for the first time on the ED grilling in the National Herald case. Rahul says he will continue to fight ED patiently with the support of Congress workers. All right, viewers, latest news break right now coming in is that we are counting down to Eknath Shinde's press conference. He is going to hold a press conference any time now. It would be his response to Uddhav Thackeray, viewers. Uddhav Thackeray might not have even once taken the name of Eknath Shinde in his entire address to the people of Maharashtra, to the rebel cadres, to the Shiv Sena. Not once did Uddhav Thackeray say the name of Eknath Shinde, but Uddhav Thackeray was addressing the rebel MLAs, which included Eknath Shinde, and through which his emotional appeal, he's also thrown in a googly for the Shiv Sena rebels. He's asked them, are you sure that the next Chief Minister of Maharashtra will be a Shiv Sena? I never wanted the post. I have taken it up, but my resignation is down. I have written it. Come and take it. Usually, a resignation is given or stepped down. Here, you have Uddhav Thackeray, who, viewers, is actually extending his resignation not to anybody else but to the Shiv Sena, asking them to come and pick it up and take it, but asking them a pertinent question as well. Will the next Chief Minister of Maharashtra be a Shiv Sena? What we are going to do, keep a keen eye on all developments as they take place. Eknath Shinde from Guwahati will be holding a press conference responding to what Uddhav Thackeray had to say. All right, viewers, also there's word coming in that in Mumbai suburbs, in the area of Kalyan, in the area of Thane, Thane is the stronghold of Eknath Shinde. Kalyan is where his son is an MP from. Both these areas, posters of Eknath Shinde have already come up. Supporters are congratulating Shinde, saying Hindutva values, Bala Sahib's legacy and teachings of Anand Dige have been carried forward by Shinde. Well, that's what's happening in the outskirts, in the areas where Eknath Shinde has a strong influence. But, viewers, on the other account, we are counting down to Eknath Shinde's press conference that should take place any time right now. What's interesting is Eknath Shinde, when he spoke to India today, I spoke to him this afternoon, and he said, viewers, that he has 46 plus MLAs with him. Out of 46, he told me that he has 37 plus MLAs of the Shiv Sena with him. However, the number of signatures of that letter which was sent to the governor saying that you cannot change the chief whip, he was the chief whip, you cannot change that. That letter had just 34 signatures in total. I want to cut across to Kamlesh Sutar before we go across to all our guests who are going to be joining us through the course of the next 1 hour to get us the latest. Kamlesh, it's interesting, a resignation which was offered to the Shiv Sainik saying that my resignation has been written, come and take it, a highly emotional appeal, but through that appeal, Uddhav Thackeray has pretty much thrown a googly to the Shiv Sainiks, especially the rebels, asking them, are you sure that the next CM is going to be a Shiv Sainik?
Yes, Preeti, interestingly, as you mentioned, it's a googly by Uddhav Thackeray. Although the Chief Minister's address was publicized as Chief Minister's public address, he'll be speaking to the public of Maharashtra. But if you go to the speech very carefully, you will find that this wasn't addressed at any person in Maharashtra than Eknath Shinde. This was only meant at Eknath Shinde and the rebels with him. And I'm very sure in that Govt hotel, they would be listening very carefully to what Uddhav Thackeray had to say. He has offered to quit not just as a Chief Minister, but has also offered to quit as the Chief of Shiv Sena, saying that if you feel that I am no good to lead this party, I am no good to carry on as the CM of Maharashtra, I will resign, but you have to come in front of me, sit in front of me and say that and talk about it. We are willing to talk. Either Uddhav Thackeray here wants to buy time or wants to send across a strong message to the party leaders that if they want, he'll do that, but then they have to come and discuss that with him. So clearly, it has shown, it has some, in a way, thrown the rebels into a tizzy. They'll have to find a good answer. Of course, they will have a team of researchers ready with them who will be perhaps guiding Eknath Shinde and the team where we are expecting him to address a press conference. How does Eknath Shinde reply to that? Will there be another emotional appeal to reply to the emotional appeal made by Uddhav Thackeray is what remains to be seen. It's very interesting. The situation is developing in an interesting way, Preeti. But
in
Uddhav
an unusual way, Kamlesh,
has shown that calm and composure while talking to Eknath Shinde here.
Well, you're right, in an unusual way at that, because the Chief Minister would usually tender his resignation to the governor, and other ways, but not to the rebel, Shiv Sainiks in this question, because that's what he's done. He said, my resignation is down pat, come take it, I'm ready to give it to you. Emotional appeal, but will it just be an emotional appeal? Because ultimately, it's going to come down to hard, cold numbers. As Eknath Shinde have them is the question. And we're going to cut across to that press conference, which he is going to hold shortly from now. But before that, viewers, Kamlesh, thank you for joining us. Coming back to you in the next 25 minutes. Cutting across to Sanjay Jha, political analyst, Swati Chaturvedi, author, columnist, Chandrasekhar Jha, leader, Shiv Sena, Shriraj Nair, political analyst, Umesh Patil, leader, NCP. I want to cut across directly to Swati Chaturvedi first. Swati, you've been following the political development since the morning. Would you have expected the kind of Uddhav Thackeray speech? Because all of us in the newsroom were actually thinking he's going to step down when he began, but he didn't quite do so. Unusual.
No, Preeti, I was totally expecting it, because you have to understand, I have known Uddhav Thackeray now for over 20 years. The Shiv Sainiks and the Sena Pramukh have a very different kind of bond. It's a very emotional bond. It is always like, they get hurt, they appeal to the Shiv Sainiks. And in this case, Uddhav Thackeray was talking about betrayal. The biggest theme of his today's address to Maharashtra was the betrayal of the Thackeray family by its own. He was a man hurt, totally on the brink. He said, I will resign. Come and take my resignation, not the governor, not to anybody else, not to the coalition partners, but to the Shiv Sainiks. Now, the ordinary Shiv Sainik is very emotional about Matoshri and about even Uddhav Thackeray. I mean, they were crazy about Bal Thackeray. So this is something that I actually really did expect, because, this disconnect that the Sainiks have with, the Sena Pramukh is something which we actually don't see in other political parties.
All right, Sanjay Jha, yes, it's an emotional appeal. It's interesting the way it's happened right now, but ultimately it's going to come down to hard, cold numbers. Eknath Shinde seems to have them.
Well, it is very obvious that Eknath Shinde is up in the game, and he's got some trump cards, no denying that. But I think it was a master stroke on the part of Uddhav to really go out and speak publicly. To take on from what Swati mentioned, and I quite agree with her, is that it is actually not just talking to Eknath Shinde. He actually was also talking to the Sainiks, because there are a lot of rumors about the fact that has Uddhav gone soft on the aggressive Hindutva that some people expect the Shiv Sena to follow, etc., etc. I think he quelled a lot of those doubts at the very beginning, but he also threw down the gauntlet at Eknath Shinde. I think that is the underlying politics of what he did right now. He basically said, listen, you want to be the chief minister, you want me to go, come and let's have a conversation. And let me tell you this, Preeti, I live in Mumbai. I know a lot of people who are part of the, supporters of Shiv Sena, some who work for the party. The truth be said, if all these people come down from Guwahati to Mumbai, let me tell you, it will be very difficult for them to dislodge Uddhav Thackeray. The truth is, when they come face to face, I think the story changes. He also spoke to all the rebels, saying that, listen, if you have a problem with me leading a coalition with the Congress and the NCP, well, what's the alternative? Let's go and have a chat about it. You have an objection to my political stance, I'm willing to step back. But he did not hesitate, Preeti, in saying what is actually a very true fact, which is that he's done a good job on the COVID. He is largely liked by a majority of people. And I said it on your show yesterday, I'll repeat it again. A lot of the anti-Shiv Sena or even the borderline people, Congress and others, have begun to like Uddhav Thackeray. They believe he's administered reasonably well. His governance has been above board, and he's overall become more, shall we say, progressive Hindutva and not as
Sanjay Jha, as I bring in Chandrasekhar Jha to this, there's a flip side to the administration of Uddhav Thackeray, criticized highly for not meeting his MLAs for months at end. Something he tried to make amends this time around when he spoke directly to the Shiv Seniks. He said, I have been unable to meet some of the MLAs because I was unwell. I had my surgery for the last few months, but I'm making amends. I'm meeting MLAs now. So there's somewhere down the line an embedded apology as well for maybe not keeping in touch with his people, his cadre, his MLAs. He chaired multiple cabinet meetings while he's just presided on these meetings through teleconferencing and not really been there, in flesh and blood over the last many, many months, and something that has been criticized. Chandrasekhar Jha, leader Shiv Sena, joins us from Kolkata. Mr. Jha, how do you see this pan out? This address directly to the Shiv Seniks, do you think it's going to be taken well in terms of what's going on right now in Guwahati?
The message is very clear. First thing, what he has said, that he is ready to resign. So in any event, he has expressed his willingness to resign. And second thing, what he has expressed very clearly, that since some fractional issues are there, which is an internal issue which can be resolved very quickly if the fraction which has separated and Sahib will sit and will decide upon the issue. It's very clear and very exactly what he wants to say to the fraction which has divided from the party. Now the thing is that everybody is making out an issue why he did not resign simultaneously. So he is ready and willing to it, but let the fraction come out. The fraction has some issues and fraction wants the party to go with BJP. That's the only issue on which the thing has struck, and I believe that that issue can be already resolved, and if they sit together.
That emotional pitch, Mr. Jha, Chandrasekhar Jha, that he made with, is the next chief minister going to be a Shiv Sainik? Can you assure that? Will that touch a chord?
These are all probabilities we are debating on. Now let all the things come out in public, let all the issues be resolved between them, and then all the things will come out.
All right. Umesh Patil, leader NCP, is also with us. Patil ji, अब जब हम बात कर रहे हैं वर्षा पे, जहां से वो निकलने वाले हैं, मातोश्री जाने वाले हैं, सुप्रिया सूले और शरद पवार उनके साथ हैं। कल तक शरद पवार का कहना था कि देखिए ये शिवसेना का इंटरनल मैटर है, हम तो ऑपोजिशन में बैठने के लिए भी तैयार हैं। कुछ बदला है अभी?
नहीं, देखिए, ये कल पवार साहब ने जो कहा वो बिल्कुल सही है। ये शिवसेना का इंटरनल।
All right, we seem to have lost Umesh Patil. We're going to try and reestablish contact with him. Swati Chaturvedi, I'll pull you back into this conversation. How do you see things pan out right now? Because one thing is very clear, Eknath Shinde seems to be rather hard-nosed about, going ahead and trying to get in the numbers. And possibly moving in the minute he has those numbers. Do you see anything change? Because this emotional appeal is all right, but what changes on ground?
Preeti, you said a very significant thing right now, that Uddhav Thackeray, asked the million-dollar question that, okay, fine, I will go, replace me, but will it be a Shiv Sena as a chief minister? That is really the crux of the case. The two things he didn't mention, one was Mr. Shinde's name, and the other was the fact that this is a BJP-sponsored rebellion. This is a BJP-sponsored, coup against his government. So, this question, Mr. Shinde cannot really, is Mr. Shinde going to be the chief minister? We don't know. If it's the chief minister going to be from the BJP, then, clearly Uddhav Thackeray is showcasing to the Shiv Sena that, look, this is a man who's a turncoat who betrayed me and ensured that the Shiv Sena doesn't even have its own chief minister. So, this was a very significant thing that Uddhav Thackeray asked. And, the repeatedly saying, come and take my resignation, I will come with you to the governor, was almost like a taunt. That, will you replace me? I mean, who will, from these people, who will replace Uddhav Thackeray? The other thing is, the fact that these people went to Surat and then they flew to Guwahati. Now, who arranged the hotels? Who arranged the charter flights? All of us know that the BJP is behind it. So, by not even, he's kind of underlined that this is a BJP plotted coup, and that, it will be a BJP replacement. So I wonder how many of the Shiv Sena MLAs who are currently with Mr. Shinde are going to review this, because they have to be elected again. And will they join the BJP? How will they be elected again? Because the Sena is going to make a huge story. It was like Uddhav Thackeray saying that, reports of my demise are greatly exaggerated. I don't think he's lost control of Shiv Sena yet.
Sriraj Nair, spokesperson VHP. Uddhav Thackeray made also a very pertinent point when he spoke about Hindutva, and he also talked about how this might be a new Shiv Sena, but the core of the Shiv Sena is Hindutva.
Well, madam, we also, saying is one thing, and what he was doing is another thing. They absolutely compromised on the Hindutva issue. We all know what they did just to seek the power. 2019 election, I am also from Mumbai, and I am also a voter in Maharashtra. 2019, the voters voted for Shiv Sena BJP combined only for Hindutva. Once the election results were over, just for the sake of power, Uddhav Thackeray joined hands with those people who always ridiculed, mocked Hindu Dharma. They are the people who said Sri Ram is Kalpanik, imaginary figure. They ridiculed the movement of Ram Janmabhoomi. They ridiculed and mocked the Hindutva movement always, and that is the reason Uddhav Thackeray and his coterie is paying a heavy price for going against the ideology.
Mr. Nair, number one, they still haven't paid that price, and number two, the BJP would have many believe it was development and not Hindutva. That is why the mandate went to the BJP and the Shiv Sena. But we'll come back to that. Sir, point made. Sanjay Jha, the fact is, let's talk about the Congress in midst of all of this. You had Kamal Nath there through the course of the day. If it goes the way of Eknath Shinde, sir, I'll come back to you. Sir, I'll come back to you. Give me 20 seconds. I'll come back to you. You can make your point there. Yeah, Sanjay Jha, the fact is, if things go Eknath Shinde's way, the Congress in all of this would be most vulnerable. They might have their 44 MLAs together, but once you look at it, they will disintegrate, because usually MLAs have a habit of gravitating towards the party which is on the precipice of power.
Well, Preeti, I mean, at this point, and I don't want to speculate as to what's really going to happen, but one thing is pretty obvious, that, if Eknath Shinde does not respond to what is a very public request by Uddhav Thackeray to come face to face and sort out that internal difference, Uddhav Thackeray will actually be checkmating him. Because remember, I think the key point is the Senics. If you look at the average Sena person, I mean, they are really deep-seated loyalists. I mean, no matter what happens, the Shiv Sena always does well in the BMC elections. And that is a given, because the voter will never change. So the truth is that Eknath Shinde today, I think, is cornered. And we all know that this is part of the Operation Lotus game plan. Now, the BJP's playbook may actually, in a great number of ways, tumble off the floor. And one of the reasons for that could be that they have bitten more than they can chew. Because let me tell you, at some point, there has to be a floor test. or the alternative is what? A president's rule, which nobody would like. Nobody wants a midterm election. When it comes to the floor test, I mean, they will have to have the interface. I mean, groups will have to, be in conversation. And that is why Guwahati becomes critical, because Gujarat was accessible in closer proximity. There's a reason behind Guwahati. I think you need to look at that in depth. It tells you why the BJP believes that this flock is highly susceptible, and one Mr. Deshmukh coming and telling you how he was attacked yesterday night is perhaps just the tip of the iceberg. So to use a famous quote, picture to bhi baki hai mere dost.
Well, are you totally looking on the positive side, Sanjay Jha? Because Swati, if, to say that Eknath Shinde is cornered would be a little foolhardy at this point of time. Eknath Shinde has over 30 MLAs sitting with him in Guwahati. How is he cornered?
No,
but he's not got 37.
No, Preeti, I totally agree with you, mainly because we've seen today that, Uddhav Thackeray also underlined the fact that Sharad Pawar is still supporting him, and so is Kamal Nath, which is the Congress, which has two allies. Now, the Sharad Pawar factor is extremely important here, because yesterday we virtually saw Sharad Pawar kind of distancing himself from Uddhav Thackeray, from the Shiv Sena, and saying that the Chief Minister's post for Shiv Sena's, and this was an internal matter of the Shiv Sena. Today, Pawar, is kind of meeting him, so there's been a change, because also, the fact that the home portfolio in Maharashtra is held by Patil, who's from the NCP, a Sharad Pawar loyalist, who didn't see 37 MLAs, 35 MLAs go away, who have, Mumbai police security, who have PAs, who have, and 3 ministers to boot, is a huge failure of political intelligence as well. I mean, how did the MVA government not see this coming? The BJP has been publicly challenging them ever since this government's been made. So, it is a huge crisis, and you're right that the Congress is susceptible to poaching, but also this time the NCP is.
Sriraj Nair, I know you've been wanting to complete what you said. Sir, come in, make that rebuttal. I'm sorry I'm coming in a tad bit late. What is it that you wanted to say then?
I just wanted to say, after they took on the administration of Maharashtra, and after Uddhav Thackeray taking over as CM, we also saw how parks and infrastructural projects were named after Tipu Sultan. Everything what Bala Saheb's ideology was kept aside, and everything was done which could ridicule and mock Hindutva. We saw the way there was a collection drive for the Ram Mandir. There also they tried to ridicule and mock. So all this price what they're paying is for the way they mocked Hindutva, the way they crushed Hindutva movement in Maharashtra. Maharashtra is a land of saints, and we saw two
All right.
saints.
May I just get a Shiv Sainik to answer that? Chandrasekhar Jha, do you believe that Shiv Sena has moved away from the cause of Hindutva?
There was no proper
It
investigation.
has never been. It has never been. He has said, and every time he has said, that we are the party with the Hindutva. First and foremost, everybody remembers his first day speech, and on the last day till today, he has said that he belongs to Hindutva. His party basis is Hindutva. So he has never deviated from Hindutva. First thing. Second,
How did he prove?
Sir, let him speak.
saying,
You got
he has
uninterrupted
done
time.
it,
Please
and
don't
his
interrupt.
party has done it. And what you are saying today, you say you people are practicing Hindutva only on electoral rolls, and only on electoral basis. You people are divulging people. You people are making riots. You people are doing nothing for the public, and you say that you people are following Hindutva. What kind of Hindutva you people have followed?
Yes, absolutely. Hindutva
All right.